Sometimes perfection is the best disaster. Survival. Keep it simple. Be prepared.
Hi everybody, we're going to be doing a quick upload. I'm going to race through this, and this is regarding a 3-day bundle package for urban survival, under $25. What's included is a butcher knife I got for $1 at a tag sale. There's a big garbage bag which costs virtually nothing, a pack of matches I got for nothing, a case of spring water, some beef jerky, 2 boxes of ramen noodles, 12 packs in each box. One's chicken, one's beef flavored. There's an aluminum cooker. I picked that up for $1 at a tag sale. And there's a disaster blanket. I actually got that for nothing. The idea here is to be able to take all of these components, except for the water, wrap them up into a plastic bag, set them to the side. The ramen noodles will add a carbohydrate to your system, make you feel full. Your body has plenty of calories to burn for 3 days, so you typically don't have to worry about starving. The water is easily dispensable and pre-measured, and that's real convenience. On top of the fact that if something happens to the case, the odds are every bottle won't be broke. Make sure you get a flashlight. That cost $1. I got that at a tag sale. Along with that, keep in mind that if you happen to be on a 2nd or 3rd floor, your 1st floor and your basement happen to be flooded, here's where you may want to get some wood. I took a chunk out of the wall right up to the studs, went over and grabbed some pieces of wood right out of the studs, and went ahead and they were dry, made some shavings. And if you have a problem getting studs that are dry in the wall, because the plaster will get wet real easy, even before the wood. But if that happens to be the case, just go right ahead, reach for a ceiling rafter and see if you can't get some wood out of that. Remember, you're in a crisis situation. It's an emergency. I took some of the shaved wood, as you see here, in one of the matches, and I went ahead and used it as an ignition system on a piece of foil on the counter. What that is, that's one of the iPads the ladies use to take makeup off with. And I had some petroleum jelly, which is another great source of ignition. It'll give you a long burn. Smear it on like you would peanut butter. I just placed it down right on top of the aluminum pad. Go ahead, light it, and you'll get a long durated burn. Instead of getting just a cotton to burn for probably, I don't know, 10 or 15 seconds, you might get a minute or 2 out of the petroleum. Not highly flammable in the way that there's vapor. You can ignite it, and it's a pretty safe and very controlled burn, and it does get quite hot. One of the things I did was, after you take the shavings and after you use this as an ignition system, if you happen to be able to find this, and even if this petroleum was floating around in water, you could still scoop some out and go ahead and ignite it. I took some of the shavings, added it to it, and this is how you would build your fire. So you have your initial fire starter, and then you can go ahead and add little layers of wood and go ahead and make a bigger fire. This was a soda can. It cost me nothing. I cut it in half, took the top off of it, put some holes in it with a nail, and if you want, you can take same thing, one of those pads, go ahead, smear it with some jelly, petroleum jelly, that iPad, stick it in the can and light it. But this is kind of a kicked up version of it all. That's denatured alcohol. You can use denatured alcohol, regular alcohol, and that's a short match. You can see how hot that burns. You can use diesel fuel and you can use kerosene. Diesel fuel and kerosene will add more soot and more toxicity to generating heat and or for using for cooking. The denatured alcohol and regular alcohol will burn a little cleaner. And that's one of the things you're looking at here, is a very clean burn. So that blue flame is quite hot, and that little can is kicking. It's pretty durable. It's strong enough to go ahead and hold that little cast iron pan, never mind an aluminum cooker. You certainly could go ahead and add water to that or whatever, and you'd still be able to support that, even with that little can. So in an emergency situation, yeah, you can use a soda can If you really want to kick it up a notch, go ahead and reach for something like a coffee can. These cans are called penny stoves, and if you use a coffee can, you're looking at a stove. By slang, it's called a hobo stove. And that blue flame is quite hot. What I'm doing here is I'm taking a Pyrex measuring cup, putting it on the top, so if you're in extremely cold weather and you have a very cold cup and you want to warm it, you can certainly use it that way. This happens to be me just trying to extinguish it. It gets real hot. That's a small piece of foil, nothing extensive. I didn't have to look for much, and it cools down in virtually the amount of time you're looking at. The leftover alcohol, if you have any, you want to try to store that in a container where it won't evaporate, because that could actually be a very precious commodity at that point. So there you have it. That's the penny stove, and that's sitting on the trivet, so I didn't ruin the countertop and get yelled at. Yeah, the wall I'll fix. Countertop would be ugly for a long time. If you need water, go right into the back of the toilet tank. You can take that water, purify it up a little bit. That's pretty clean water, and it's also cold water. So if you want to, purify it, you strain it a little bit. Add 12 to 16 drops of bleach to a gallon of water. This is another ignition system. That's lint. It's dry, it's cloth, and it ignites. And it's one of the biggest reasons for household fires. There's people that don't take care of their dryer systems and their lint. But here you have it. Here's a bundle of lint. And if you don't have an opportunity to get to wood because you have metal stoves, studs, and you're having difficulty obtaining wood, you can try to get a hold of something like that, the lint, and burn it. Final note on all of this stuff is a rope. There happens to be 100 feet of rope right there. That's not climber's rope. It's not a life-saving rope. It's just rope I have. I took it and I made a loop. I stuck it through the loop through a pipe, a galvanized pipe, and I have like almost a 4-foot, it's about 42-inch window there, and I stuck the pipe right along the jambs. And if I needed to, just drop that right out the window and get out to safety, if it's at all possible, or to save yourself. If you're really in a press situation and you don't have a rope, you can go ahead and use an extension cord just like I used the rope, and probably get yourself to safety, as long as it's one of those thick, heavy extension cords. But for about $25 for this setup, it's good enough for 72 hours. If you want to add a rope, you're looking at adding another, $20 or $25 for something decent. A good climber's rope's going to run around $200. So for under $25, you can get yourself a 3-day bundle, and that should be good enough to get you through while you're waiting for some help to come along. Hope this helped. Thanks. Bye.
Survival. Keep it simple and be prepared.